At the recent Nebraska Soybean Board meeting here in Lincoln, we sat down with District 2 Director Lisa Lunz. Lisa is also on the board of directors for the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance. We started by asking what producers in agriculture are doing well when it comes to communicating with consumers about where their food comes from.
That's an ongoing process, and in the past, agriculture has tended to not share with the consumer, information about where their food comes from. And we're pretty science-based, and so as producers, we make decisions on science. Well, the consumer doesn't use that information to make their decision. They like to go to the grocery store and have lots of choices. And I think it's very important that the consumer has those choices when they go to the store. But then on the other side of that, we need to have conversations with consumers about where their food is coming from, how it is produced, why we produce it the way we do, and help that education process. And the Farmers and Ranchers Alliance was started to try to start those food dialogues, is what I call them. And they have now about over 70 agriculture organizations, some industries that have come together, and policy is not discussed, the controversial things are not discussed, but they're just talking about, why we do the things we do and about how food is produced.
So at these food dialogues or with these food dialogues, is it a kind of a back and forth, or the concerns are discussed as well?
Yes, they are. And last September they had four dialogues on the same day across the nation, and they had anyone from chefs to people that don't agree with conventional food production, and then they had the largest dairy in Indiana represented, and it started some things. And there's a website out there, fooddialogues.com, that kind of continues these conversations, because consumers do have a lot of questions about where their food comes from, and there's a lot of people out there giving misinformation or information that maybe I don't necessarily agree with, and we would like the consumer to hear our side of the story.
How does the individual produce, for someone watching at home, how do they individually try to change that?
Well, social media has been a big thing, and from Facebook to Twitter to whatever, and you have all your followers on Twitter and that kind of thing, and there's egg producers now that have been a part of that for a while that have over 40,000 followers. So they're having a tweet up tonight that talks about with that producer and mom bloggers and women that go to the grocery store, they're going to talk about how their food, answer their questions about the food.
So there's more activity from the side of the producer?
Yes, there's been more activity, and then, like I said, fooddialogues.com, they have all kinds of information out there that people ask questions, and then people are given the opportunity to answer. And then we also have a Common Ground program with the United Soybean Board and the National Corn Growers, and that we're recruiting moms that happen to be farm women to go to grocery stores and other events to talk about, about their food. And we buy our groceries in the same grocery store as Omaha people, Lincoln people, anyone, and just they have questions and they deserve the answers.